When the Hong Kong Observatory raised the first No. 8 Typhoon signal late at night, Erick bought a new cruise ship to celebrate Canary's birthday in Victoria Harbour. A set of jewelry worth over $100 million. A vintage wedding dress shipped all the way from Paris. All of them were proof of how much he loved Canary. I called him more than 10 times, begging him to stay safe and not risk his life. Erick scoffed. Can't you just be content being Mrs. Erick? Haven't I given you enough already? Why are you so hung up on her? She's young and lively, likes a bit of excitement. What's it to you? That night, the typhoon struck with brutal force. The cruise ship capsized. No one survived. Paparazzi rushed to interview me the next morning. They asked what I thought. I stayed quiet for a long time, said nothing. I wasn't angry anymore. He used to treat me very well. Of course. Now he treats me even better. After all, now that he's dead, all his money is mine. Chapter 1. When the No. 3 signal was hoisted, I had just arrived at Erick's old house. My daughter, 5 years old, was tossing around on the couch. Grandpa, I want $100 million. The old man chuckled, reading his newspaper. All right, when our little princess grows up, we'll give you $100 million. Sophia didn't cry or throw a tantrum. She looked dead serious. Grandpa, I mean, I want it now. She'd always been emotionally steady, still a child, yet she loved talking about grown-up things. Sophia, I said, sitting down beside her, tell mommy, why do you want that much money right now? When you grow up, I can transfer it to you. Sophia thought hard, then turned on the TV and hit replay. On the screen, Erick's mistress Lily was being interviewed. She had just walked the red carpet, her hand resting on the diamond necklace around her neck. A swarm of paparazzi surrounded her. Miss Lily, could you tell us about that necklace? Was it a gift from someone special? Lily gave a shy smile. Yes, my fiancé gave it to me. He loves me very much. So, are the wedding bells ringing soon? Yes. Lily giggled, covering her mouth. I was just thinking about when he'll finally propose. The camera suddenly panned to a man in the audience. A strikingly handsome man, full of charisma. His gaze fixed on Lily, a faint smile on his lips. That was Lily's so-called fiancé. If he weren't my husband, I suppose even I'd think they looked perfect together. Sophia turned off the TV. Grandma, that necklace. It was the birthday gift you bought me at auction for my 4th birthday. I haven't even worn it yet. Why did Daddy take it and give it to someone else? My mother-in-law looked at me awkwardly. I picked Sophia up. When it's your next birthday, Mommy will get you an even prettier one, okay? But I want the one Grandma gave me, Sophia said tearfully. Grandma, isn't a gift mine once it's given to me? Of course it is, sweetheart. Then why did Daddy give it to someone else? Why is that woman wearing my necklace? Chapter 2. The old man exploded in fury and stood up. Erick actually dared to covet something that belongs to his own daughter and pull a stunt like this? Absolutely disgraceful. I'm calling him right now. If he doesn't get back before 6 tonight, he doesn't need to come back at all. Don't cry, sweetheart, he said gently, trying to comfort Sophia. From the phone, Erick's voice came through. Dad, I'm in a meeting right now. What meeting? If you're not back by 6, don't bother coming back ever again. The old man had previously arranged for a private playground to be built just for Sophia. It was finally finished. To cheer her up, he took her to visit it. After the two left, my mother-in-law sat sulking on the sofa. I walked over. Mom, don't worry too much. Sophia's just a child. She forgets things quickly. She'll probably forget all about the necklace in a few days. She looked at me with guilt on her face. Selena, how did Erick ever deserve someone as good as you? Why doesn't he know how to treasure you? And to think he had the nerve to do something so humiliating. It's all over the TV now. Don't worry. I'll make sure you get the justice you deserve. I kept a soft smile on my face and nodded obediently. She picked up the remote and changed the channel. 2 stations in a row were airing entertainment news, both featuring interviews with Lily. Miss Lily, photos recently surfaced showing you and Erick entering a hotel together. Are you his mistress? Miss Lily, a video of you getting a prenatal checkup at a hospital has gone viral. You claimed it was for a friend. Care to clarify? My mother-in-law turned off the TV in anger. Our family's got a business empire. We can't afford scandals like this. It'll affect the company's stock price. I agreed with her immediately, said my goodbyes, and went to the study. As I walked up the stairs, the smile on my face finally disappeared. I wasn't smiling, but I felt great inside. Erick was pulling every trick in the book, thinking he could force me to file for divorce, but I never play by his script. I'll be the one to kick him out. The more affection he publicly shows for Lily, the more desperately he tries to bring her home as his new wife, the more his parents grow to resent him. I'm just waiting for that moment. That evening at dinner, Erick came home. My mother-in-law told me she wanted to invite a TV station over to film a segment at our house, something to show off our harmonious family life and crush the rumors about our supposed divorce. I happily agreed. In fact, that had been my idea all along. I just didn't want to bring it up myself, so I asked someone to suggest it discreetly. As soon as Erick came back, he dragged me into the study. Selena, what did you say to my parents? Why is my dad so pissed off? Maybe you should be asking yourself what you've done. I replied calmly. Don't give me that. Erick snapped. We've been talking about divorce for 5 years. Why won't you just sign the papers? Selena, what's the point in dragging this out? I'll never love you again. We're over. Why can't you just let go with some dignity? What are you saying? I softened my tone when I noticed my mother-in-law standing at the door. Erick, I've never tried to interfere in your private life outside our marriage. As for the divorce, I think we're too financially entangled, and your parents definitely wouldn't want us to split, right? Shut up, Erick growled, now even more enraged. You always use my parents against me. Is that all you know how to do? You shut up instead. His mother stormed into the room and started scolding him mercilessly. I quietly stepped aside, a silent smile curling on my lips. Trying to make me initiate the divorce? Not a chance. I'll make sure every bit of profit stays firmly in my hands. Chapter 3. While Erick was arguing with his mother in the study, I took Sophia for a walk in the courtyard. As we walked, a new notification lit up my phone. It was another taunting message from Lily. I opened the message. It was a prenatal exam report, and a short sentence, I'm pregnant. Soon. More messages flooded in. Stop clinging to youth. In 2 years you'll be aging like a cliff fall. Who'd still want that face? You're clinging to the title of Mrs. Erick now. But what about later? Once Erick's parents are gone, you think you'll still have power? I will marry into his family. I'm not pregnant this time, but I will have his child one day. I locked my phone. None of it fazed me. I never cared for my husband's affection or the hollow title of Mrs. Erick. Only someone as dumb as Lily would think I'm fighting her over a man. To prepare for the interview, my mother-in-law had the maids redecorate the entire house. The TV crew soon arrived. A full production team, stylists, cameramen, props crew, everything. A few of them were quick to flatter her, complimenting her youthful appearance and the luxurious decor. She wasn't born into nobility, so marrying into this family had been a big leap up. She's always been a bit vain, loves attention and praise. That's exactly what I was counting on. The higher I raise her image, the more grace and dignity she's forced to maintain, meaning she'll never allow herself to bring in a mistress's child under her roof. Madam, how would you describe the atmosphere in your household? She sat in a carved pearwood chair, smiling warmly. She had received the interview outline 2 weeks in advance, and had her answers fully scripted. The atmosphere in our family is very loving. My husband and I have been married for decades and rarely argue. My son and daughter-in-law have a wonderful relationship. They have 3 children in total. My twin grandsons went abroad for university at 16 and just turned 18. They've already withdrawn funds from the family trust to start their own company. Very impressive boys. The host nodded, steering the conversation toward the topic I had been waiting for. How do you respond to the recent rumors about Mr. Erick and Miss Lily, the beauty queen? All nonsense, she replied firmly. My son is extremely busy with work. He simply doesn't have time for mistresses. These rumors are baseless. And most importantly, he's always been very self-disciplined. I almost laughed out loud. Good thing I was sitting far from the camera and no one noticed. A new notification popped up on my phone. Lily had updated her socials again, more selfies. One of them showed 2 hands tightly interlocked. She captioned it, "Day out with my fiancé, he loves me so much." Someone commented, "Is that Mr. Erick?" Lily didn't confirm or deny, she simply replied with a guess who emoji. "And what do you think makes Erick a successful father?" the host asked next. My mother-in-law responded with grace. "Erick is like a friend to all three of his children. They look up to him and respect him deeply. In their eyes, he's a role model." Chapter 4. My phone lit up again. Messages from my two sons. Lucas, "Mom, what's going on with Dad?" These rumors are all over international forums. I even saw them trending. Daniel, "Mom, has Dad lost it? That necklace Lily's wearing, isn't that the one Grandma gave Sophia for her birthday? Why would he steal from a 5-year-old? Wow," the host said admiringly. "It's clear the kids are very close to their father." Madam, your answers have really helped us see a new side of Mr. Erick. One last question. How often do the children stay in touch with their father? They call him every week. They discuss everything, from school to personal life. They're very filial, she smiled. I replied to the boys. How often do you two actually talk to your father? Seconds later. Lucas, never. Daniel, called once. He didn't pick up. Never tried again. I sighed. As for Sophia, she's still young but very mature for her age. She and her father have a very close bond, my mother-in-law went on. She looked toward the living room, where Sophia was working on a puzzle. Sitting beside her was a little boy, my mother-in-law's nephew's son, a few months younger than Sophia. Sophia heard her name and looked up. Grandma, were you calling me? She asked sweetly, waving. The camera crew immediately swung toward her. Filming her was fine. Whether it'd make the final cut was another story. The old couple had always been reluctant to let Sophia appear on camera. She'd been kidnapped as a toddler. The abductors nearly killed her. Sweetie, who's your favorite family member? Is it Daddy? The host asked gently. Sophia blinked. Unafraid, she shook her head. I love Mommy, Grandma, Grandpa, and my brothers the most. What about Daddy? Before she could answer, the little boy beside her stood up, confused. Sophia, you have a dad? Sophia turned toward him. I've never seen your dad. I thought he was dead. Two cameramen turned beet red, struggling not to laugh. The lighting guy outright snorted. The host kept her expression professional, but her tightly pursed lips gave her away. Seeing the awkward look on my mother-in-law's face, she quickly added, Don't worry, madam, we'll cut that part out of the final edit. We'll send you the rough cut as soon as it's ready. No worries at all, my mother-in-law replied politely. She turned to the crew to explain, that boy is my nephew's son. He doesn't visit often, so he hasn't seen Erick much. Though, truthfully, Erick doesn't come home often either. He values family. Of course. But you know how demanding his work is. It's hard to balance sometimes. The host nodded sympathetically. Yes. Of course. We understand completely. Chapter 5. With the interview video now live, mockery toward Erick's family and Erick himself reached a new peak online. More and more netizens started piecing together the timeline. The day Erick's mother appeared on TV praising him as a devoted family man, he was spotted tangled up with a celebrity at a hotel. That same day she posted a joyful announcement about her granddaughter's birth on social media. Lily shared a photo of a man's back with the caption, Everyone needs someone who shows up whenever you call. And over the years, people noticed Erick was almost always missing from family portraits. He rarely attended family dinners but never missed Lily's award ceremonies. Even when his son held a coming-of-age party after returning to the country, Erick showed up at the last minute. The reason? Lily had messaged him saying she was injured, and he stayed by her side the whole time. Each instance, each contrast, was dug up by online sleuths. Erick's mother had hoped the interview would revive the family's image and polish her son's reputation, but she never considered that if her words strayed too far from Erick's actual behavior, the backlash would be even worse. When she came home, she sat on the sofa staring at her phone in silence. Mom, I approached gently. Don't worry, I've seen what's going on online. I'll take care of it for Erick. Her eyes lit up. Selena, I knew I could count on you. You always have a big picture mindset. By the way, someone will drop off a package soon. Your grandson sent it. It just cleared customs. They've been thinking about how you always feel cold in your hands and feet. So they found some rare medicinal herbs for you. Just hearing about her grandsons lifted her mood instantly. Those two are juggling school and their business ventures. They're so busy. Yet they still find time to care for me. It must be exhausting. I've had these health issues for years and Erick never even asked. Raising him was such a waste. The younger generation is so much more thoughtful. But soon, the conversation looped back again. These comments online are infuriating. If you get a chance, see if someone can take them down. She handed me her phone. It was the comment section of a trending video. I'm dying laughing. Did she really think netizens are that dumb? This old lady really said that on camera? This is beyond dramatic. Everyone knows Erick's a womanizer, and she has the nerve to call him a saint? Is she blind? She dares to praise him, but I don't dare to listen. You all might be laughing, but I find this sad. I've been around online since the early days. I'm one of the older users here, and I remember Erick and his wife's past. Seeing this now makes me stop believing in love. Same. They used to defend each other in public, run their businesses side by side, go through everything together. Now look at them. 20 years ago, everyone thought they were together for money and status, but they proved us all wrong. They stayed strong for years, and we all believed it was real love. Now this, it just ruins everything. Chapter 6. Lily is just embarrassing to watch. That hyperplastic, AI-generated looking face? I honestly don't know how she's still getting acting gigs. Ha ha ha, now that you mention it. I remember, she got 3rd place in the Miss Hong Kong pageant a few years ago. Everyone said she bought her way in. Honestly, I've wondered the same. I wouldn't be surprised if Erick paid for her entire team. With her cringeworthy acting skills, how else could she keep landing roles? I handed the phone back to my mother-in-law. Mom, don't worry about what people say online. I'll find someone to clean up the public opinion mess as soon as possible. She nodded gratefully and even handed me one of the company's major projects. In recent years, the old man's health had declined. He had started gradually handing over power. And ever since Erick got involved with Lily, he'd completely lost interest in work or the company. He was never particularly gifted in business to begin with. And once he stopped putting in effort, his performance became downright embarrassing. So, for the past few years, I've been the one managing most of the company's projects and operations. In these 5 years, I've secured my grip on nearly everything. Every bit of endurance, every moment of silence, it was all for a purpose. From beginning to end, all I've ever cared about was securing the best possible future for myself and my children. Love? It's a luxury far too unreliable. I let out a deep breath and texted the person who would be delivering the items to the house. Just drop the package off. No need for extra conversation. The items weren't really from the kids. I had arranged everything myself. But by crediting it to my sons, I was paving the road for them. A scandal-ridden, love-blinded crown prince versus 2 brilliant, gifted grandsons with strong potential. I think the old man and my mother-in-law know perfectly well who the better investment is. If they don't want to see the family legacy, built over generations, crumble in the hands of their own son, then they'll have to weigh things carefully. As for Sophia, she's not some delicate little princess. She's meant to be a queen, one with complete agency over her own life. She's smart, she's brave, she's proud. She has a strong sense of self-worth and thrives on competition. Growing up in a family like this, those qualities aren't a weakness, they're a necessity. I'll encourage her to fight for everything she wants, and I'll do everything I can to pave her way. A lack of love? Most of the time, that's just a false narrative. What she truly needs is resources, power, respect, and equality. Chapter 7. After the online backlash exploded, Erick did something rare. He called me. This time, his tone was much softer than usual. I only realized how many moments with the family I've missed after seeing all the timelines people posted online. That day my mom gave the interview. I didn't know Lily had posted our photos with such misleading captions. I'll talk to her about it. Anything else? I replied, surprisingly calm. There was a brief pause. Yes, go on. My dad called and told me to come home and face the consequences. My mom's furious too. She said she'll settle the score with me sooner or later. So Selena, can you speak on my behalf at home? Try to ease things a little? Sure, I said. Don't worry. When it comes to the family name and our marriage's public image, I know what's important. If it's too difficult to clarify things yourself, I can hold a press conference and clear things up for you in my name. It'll sound more convincing coming from me." Erick went silent for a long time. When he finally spoke again, his voice faltered. He said my name gently. "Selena, thank you." It was the first time in nearly 5 years that he had said my name so peacefully. All these years, we had only looked at each other with disdain. Just before the call ended, he added, "Selena, I've wronged you all these years." I hung up and took a deep breath. Now he knows how to say sorry? Where was this attitude years ago? I let out a cold laugh. Then I anonymously forwarded some of the dirt my private investigator had collected about Erick to several major media outlets and celebrity gossip accounts. Erick's family had built their legacy in Hong Kong over generations, powerful, influential, untouchable. Now that they were under intense public scrutiny, reporters and tabloids might hesitate to risk offending them. But that didn't matter to me. If no one dares to publish, I'll pay to make it happen. Or better yet, I'll buy out a small tabloid, drop the bombshell, and shut it down afterward. In this world, there are very few things money can't buy. I stared at the photo on the wall for a long time. It was taken over 20 years ago, when Erick and I had just met. Back then, our love burned so hot, we could only see each other. The year we met, my family was an emerging business power, while Erick's family was drowning in a failed corporate restructuring. Despite all the opposition from my relatives, I still chose to marry him. 4 years. I not only managed my own family's business but also took on major responsibilities in his. 3 years later, Erick's company bounced back and began to thrive. His family gradually accepted me, but outsiders only saw the comeback. They didn't see how I stood by Erick when he had nothing. Everyone assumed I had married into wealth and power. No one cared that when I insisted on being with him, he had already lost everything. Eventually, all the speculation and judgment faded, and Erick and I weathered over a decade of storms, side by side. Chapter 8. The night before my daughter was born, I unexpectedly received a video. It was from Lily, Erick's mistress. The contents were nothing new: intimate photos, suggestive videos, and a clear sense of provocation. Truth is, my daughter wasn't supposed to be born that month, but because of that video, I went into premature labor. At the time, my father had already been gone for several years, and my older brother had just died in a plane crash. Not even his body was recovered. To this day, I still don't know how I survived that period. My mother lost her mind after my brother's death. She broke things, screamed at everyone, lashed out uncontrollably. No one was managing the family business. We nearly ran out of liquidity. Erick made his stance clear: he wanted a divorce. He was determined to bring Lily into the family. We'd been together for over a decade. I thought that even if love had faded, there would still be some sense of family, some decency. But Erick didn't care about any of that. He wanted to divorce me, no matter the cost. His parents, on the other hand, were firmly against it. They offered financial compensation, asked me to forgive him, and even promised to invest in my family's company. Back then, I sat holding my newborn daughter, thinking it over again and again. I made countless assumptions, analyzed the future down to the last detail. In the end, the choice was simple: divorce or stay. If I refused divorce, I'd be offending Erick, but if I agreed to it, I'd be turning my back on his powerful parents. At the time, my twin sons were only 13. There was no way I could win custody in a battle against the Erick family. Even if my father and brother had still been alive, our family's business couldn't rival Erick's. There was no chance I could compete. Whether it was the boys or my newborn daughter, I wouldn't be able to take any of them with me. And if I chose to leave, Erick would marry Lily right away. Given Lily's character, and the way she always provoked me, I knew she would never treat my children kindly. And if she had a child of her own with Erick, my kids would be pushed aside, worse off than ever. Also, running a business as a divorced woman would become significantly harder. But if I stayed married, with the Erick family behind me, I could gain access to everything I wanted. So I chose not to divorce. Staying in this family wouldn't bring me pain. I could freely pursue my own goals. The only downside was Erick's hatred, but I had long outgrown the need to be loved. So I accepted his indifference quickly. His cold looks and resentment? They had nothing to do with me. If he hated me, that was his problem to resolve. As for me, I only cared about getting what I wanted. Every choice comes with a price. But if a little patience brings me more in return, then whatever I lose, I'll take it. Erick is out of the house 25 days a month. Even when he's around, we barely cross paths, which means more freedom for me. He thought that by giving me the silent treatment for years, I'd be miserable, but he was wrong. I didn't care. As I thought about all this, I realized I had snapped a pen in half without noticing. Helping Erick with the media crisis? I was just saying that to mess with him. Honestly, I hope the scandal grows even bigger. Someone like Erick, so arrogant, so foolish, deserves to be eliminated early. Chapter 9. For the next 3 days, I stayed at my own company, busy with all kinds of matters. Every day, my mother-in-law would call me once to ask how I was handling Erick's scandal. I answered respectfully, earnestly, always saying, almost resolved. But that was all. I had no intention of actually dealing with the gossip. It was all just lip service. I had no plans to take action. The last time she called, I took a moment to steady my emotions before responding. Mom. Originally this could have been handled smoothly. But Lily, she's still trying to tie herself to Erick. Just now, she posted more misleading content on Weibo. She even uploaded, well, intimate photos. My mother-in-law exploded in anger and ordered me to bring Erick home immediately. I curled my lips into a faint smile. All right, Mom. The car stopped. Erick and I got out from opposite sides. Seeing his tense, annoyed expression as he hovered at the doorway, I moved closer to him. Don't worry, just go inside for now. If anything comes up, we'll deal with it later. Erick's frown eased a little. You're always so calm, Selena. I almost laughed. Let's go. I entered first. Inside, facing his mother's interrogation, Erick looked even more frustrated. How would I know why Lily posted those pictures? If she's shameless, that doesn't mean I am too. Mom. I jumped in at the right time. This was probably just Lily acting alone. Erick wouldn't be that reckless. These things draw attention quickly, but the buzz dies down just as fast. Once people get bored of the gossip, it'll fade. So let's keep it low-key. My mother-in-law considered it and finally nodded. The old man's 80th birthday banquet was the perfect opportunity to repair public image. As instructed by him, I donated money to several charities and funded equipment for major research institutions. Soon enough, his reputation improved significantly. Even Erick wasn't getting cursed out as much anymore, because the banquet also served as PR damage control. We had already invited media and arranged for the whole event to be live-streamed. Midway through the celebration, as the old man passionately recounted the highlights of his life, someone suddenly burst into the venue. It was Lily. Everyone turned around almost in unison, staring at this intruder as if she were a virus in the bloodstream. The younger guests, some from other elite families, unafraid of drama, began whispering to each other. Lily stood frozen at the center, her face blank with panic, staring at Erick helplessly. She wasn't stupid. With so many eyes on her, she realized she had seriously messed up. Erick looked furious and immediately dragged Lily out. The old man's face darkened. He watched them leave with stormy eyes, filled with rage, and I stood to the side, expressionless. Chapter 10. Everyone at the banquet was stunned by Lily's sudden appearance, except me, because I was the one who had her invited, using Erick's name. The excuse was that Erick wanted to introduce her to his family on such a special occasion. A gesture of commitment, a sign of a promised future. To pull off something like this, I needed tech. I hired the best hackers. They could make anything happen for me. Even those so-called private posts from Lily's Weibo, those seductive photos. I arranged all of it. Over the years, Lily had gained plenty from her relationship with Erick. She knew full well that, given her background and status, there was no way she could ever marry into the Erick family. But when that message landed in her inbox, she let her joy cloud her judgment. She didn't even bother to verify whether the call from Erick's assistant was real. She dressed up glamorously and rushed to the event with excitement. Even the reason she was able to bypass all the layers of security. That was me too. I authorized it. The bodyguards were instructed to let only her through. As the professional MC stepped up to rescue the moment, I quietly slipped out through the back of the venue. In the garden, Erick and Lily were in the middle of a fight. "What the hell are you doing? On a day like this, you come here to ruin everything? Do you want to destroy my family's reputation?" Lily kept shaking her head. "No, Erick. You've misunderstood. I was shocked too. I saw my account post those pictures and videos and I swear it wasn't me." Heh. Erick let out a cold laugh. "You think I'm that gullible? What? You're gonna say your account was hacked now?" "Yes. That's exactly what happened," Lily shouted. "Erick, my account was hacked. I would never post that kind of stuff." "Stop lying." Erick shoved her away harshly. "You're clearly trying to use that content to force the world to acknowledge our relationship. You want to pressure me with public opinion so I'll marry you faster. If I can't see through something that obvious, I'd never survive in business. Please don't treat me like this." Lily sobbed. She leaned in to kiss him. Erick froze for 2 seconds, then pushed her away. Chapter 11. I turned away and smiled. Such a scandalous scene would definitely be caught on camera. A few days ago, I'd suggested to my mother-in-law that more journalists and videographers be allowed into the estate, to show off the mansion and its massive hilltop garden. Officially, it was to support the family's public image restoration. But in truth, it was to plant cameras everywhere. My suggestion hit my mother-in-law's sweet spot. She'd always loved flaunting wealth in subtle, accidental ways. This event gave her a perfect excuse to repair the family reputation and showcase her fortune. Naturally, she agreed. I already knew Lily would show up. I also guessed that Erick would drag her away angrily to question her. I didn't know exactly where he'd take her, so I arranged for livestream crews to be stationed all around the venue, especially near the gardens. Officially, they were there to film the landscaping. In reality, they were there to accidentally capture every word of Erick and Lily's conversation. By the end of the banquet, keywords like Erick and Lily were already trending at the top. Unlike Lily's vague hints in the past, this time it was live video, sound, and visual proof. No matter how much PR tried to bury it, the evidence of Erick's affair was irrefutable. Erick would now be forever nailed to the wall of shame. And the family? Dragged down by his disgrace. The old man was so furious. He collapsed and had to be rushed to the hospital. His personal secretary came straight from the office with urgent documents. I knew exactly what he brought. Something to do with the will. Something that must be handled carefully. The old man lay in the hospital room. His secretary went in. His wife went in. But I wasn't allowed in. Even after 20 years in this family, in moments like this, I was always silently excluded. Because deep down, I'd always be an outsider. But that's fine. I chuckled to myself and helped Sophia adjust her little coat and pockets. "Sophia, Grandpa is sick and very upset. Can you go cheer him up? Tell him to get better soon, okay?" Sophia nodded and went inside the room. I sat calmly outside, checking flight schedules on my phone. I hadn't anticipated the old man would end up hospitalized from the stress, so I hadn't arranged for my sons to return in time. But as soon as things spiraled out of control, I had my secretary contact them immediately. Chapter 12. That afternoon, the old man's condition stabilized. When he learned that his grandsons were rushing back because he was hospitalized, he was deeply touched and praised them for a long time. He had always placed high hopes on those two boys. His appreciation for them was real. Even though Erick had become increasingly absurd over the past 5 years, he was still the biological son of the old man and his wife. So no matter how badly he messed up, they were never quite ready to give up on him. The family business would eventually pass to my children, but most likely, it would go to Erick first, and only then to the next generation. That's why I've always stayed alert, wary of the possibility that Erick might have a secret child out there. Luckily, fate was kind to me. Erick and Lily never had a child, but that didn't mean my children were guaranteed to inherit. Once the old man and his wife are gone, there will be no one left to restrain Erick. He could announce a love child at any time, and if he favored that child over mine, the future of inheritance would become a dangerous gamble. So what I had to do was destroy all of the old man's trust in Erick. Only when he decided to skip over his incompetent son and hand the company directly to the grandchildren would I have truly succeeded. If that day ever came, then the 5 years I spent enduring and calculating would all be worth it. I was never going to walk away from this marriage, never going to give up what my children and I were owed, and certainly not going to let Lily swoop in and take everything. 5 years ago, it was Lily who sent me that cruel video, causing me to go into premature labor. Sophia was born weak, running a fever non-stop. I spent countless nights worrying about her health. On top of all that, while I was still recovering, Lily brought Erick to my hospital room just to mock me, laughing at my exhausted face and postpartum figure, making such a scene that Sophia started crying hysterically. Later, Lily intentionally came into contact with my baby while she had the flu, causing Sophia to develop pneumonia and end up in the ICU for 5 years, while carrying on her secret affair with Erick. Lily constantly spread slander about me. She even hired people to kidnap my daughter and threaten me to divorce Erick. And she only dared go that far because Erick was always backing her. I've never been one to forgive and forget. Every single thing Lily and Erick did, I remember. They hurt me. They touched what I care about. They will pay. No matter who they are, I'll never let them off the hook. When Sophia walked out of the hospital room, I discreetly removed a tiny listening device from the lining of her coat pocket. And when I heard the old man say he was going to change his will, to skip over Erick and give the company to the grandkids, I finally let out a long breath. I'd done it. Everything I'd fought for these 5 years, I had achieved. My patience had been worth it. The old lady originally disagreed. She had been hoping Erick would show up at the hospital and explain the kiss with Lily, but Erick never came. So, she relented. She could see it too. Her son wasn't cut out for business. She'd raised him herself, just as she'd watched the grandkids grow. But one had rotted. The other were young trees, reaching toward the light. Deep down, she knew who was the better choice for the family's future. After the will was changed, she asked the old man, "But what about our son? If we leave everything to the grandchildren? Selena is their mother. What if she takes control of the company? And what if, someday, Selena decides to take revenge on Erick for everything he did when they were young?" Hearing that, I couldn't help but feel a flash of bitterness. I'd always known they saw me as an outsider, but hearing it out loud still stung. I've given more to this family than anyone. They welcome my efforts, but the moment it's time to reap the rewards, they turn around and say I don't deserve anything. Chapter 13. The old man didn't take his wife's concerns seriously. There's no need to worry. We've watched those 2 kids grow up with our own eyes. We know how loyal they are. They'll make sure to keep the company firmly in our hands. As for Erick, you really don't need to worry either. Just because we're not giving him the company doesn't mean he'll be left penniless. He'll still receive monthly payments from the family trust. I'll make sure he gets property, funds. He'll never be controlled by anyone, never lack money. And don't mention him again. Just thinking about him gives me a headache. He's not worth the years we spent planning everything for him. After everything that's happened, this massive scandal, he still has the nerve to be lovey-dovey with that woman. And he hasn't even bothered to visit me in the hospital. Shameless. If the company were handed to him, that would be the real disaster. I turned off the recording and destroyed the miniature listening device. The old man thought those 2 kids would blindly follow their orders. But how could he know that the children I personally raised since birth are loyal to me, their mother? That evening, when I returned home, Erick was in the bedroom, rummaging for something. The moment he saw me, he stood up quickly. "Is Dad all right?" Erick had no idea what I had done. He was polite, cautious. "Nothing serious," I replied, placing my handbag on the couch. "But he is furious with you, so it's best you don't visit him at the hospital right now. Seeing you would only make him angrier." I said it all in the tone of a caring confidant. Erick, in turn, looked even more respectful. "Okay, I'll do whatever you say. You always know best, Selena." As for Lily, she's not even worth mentioning. After complaining about Lily, he started telling me about his day. I was going to visit Dad, but on the way, I ran into a lunatic driver. He hit my car, then had the nerve to claim I reversed into him. That's why I didn't make it to the hospital on time. "The maid has made some soup," I interrupted. "Go downstairs and eat." I wasn't worried about him. I only said that to shut him up. Everything he just told me, I already knew, because I arranged it. I had orchestrated that car incident to ensure he didn't make it to the hospital. That unfilial label? He had to wear it. Otherwise, how could the revision to the will go so smoothly? Erick looked even more touched by my words. You always care about my health. Selena, I'll go down in a bit. Suddenly, he grabbed my hand and dropped to one knee, pulling out a ring. Selena, after everything that's happened, I finally realize you're the one who truly suits me. You're the only one who's ever really loved me. As for Lily, I've decided to leave her for good. As he spoke, he tried to slip the ring onto my finger. Before, I was angry when you wouldn't divorce me. I threw away our wedding rings, but now I've bought a new pair. Why don't we wear them and start over? Let's live well together. I forced down the nausea rising in my throat and pulled my hand back. That won't be necessary. If the rings were lost, so be it. I don't think replacing them is important. We're not young anymore, no need for such hollow rituals. More importantly, I didn't want anything from Erick, especially not something symbolic like a ring. That would only make me feel sicker. Erick stared at me, stunned. Selena, deep down, you're still holding a grudge against me, aren't you? Chapter 14. Erick didn't leave that night, not even by midnight. He even tried to kiss me, tried to act tender. I couldn't hold it in. I shoved him away. Hard. He hadn't stepped into this room for 5 years. During those 5 years, he spent every day and night with Lily. We hadn't shared a bed even once. By now, I was thoroughly disgusted by his touch. Why was it, when I loved him, he felt entitled to cheat? And now, when I utterly loathe him, he suddenly wears that sorry face and says, "Let's try again?" Absolutely not. My rejection infuriated Erick. He stared at me, stunned. What the hell is that supposed to mean, Selena? Before I could respond, he snapped again. You think I'm dirty, don't you? That's why you won't let me touch you? Yes. There was no need to pretend anymore. He held no power in the old man's eyes now. I didn't have to tolerate him either. Heh. Erick reached for my arm. I pushed him off again. This time, his head hit the wall. Holding his head, he looked at me and let out a string of cold, bitter laughs. Fine. You think I'm filthy, huh? Just 'cause I was with Lily for a few years, I'm contaminated? You're so pure, aren't you? Miss High and Mighty. Well, I'm done trying. You don't like Lily? Too bad. I'm going to her right now. Cursing under his breath, Erick stormed off. He smashed the vase at my feet on his way out, then slammed the door hard enough to shake the walls. In the days that followed, Erick flaunted his extravagance as if trying to provoke me. Lavish parties, wine, women, living as if in a movie. The night Hong Kong's observatory raised its first Typhoon signal, Erick bought a new yacht to throw Lily a birthday party on Victoria Harbour, auctioned jewelry worth over 100 million yuan, an antique wedding dress shipped from Paris, all to prove how much he loved Lily. The old man, whose condition had been stabilizing, was so enraged he was rushed back into the ER. My mother-in-law, frantic at the hospital, sobbed as she begged me to call Erick and bring him back. I didn't want to argue with her in that moment, so I dialed Erick's number. I barely got a few words in before he cut me off, dripping with sarcasm. Oh, now you want to call me? What? Jealous of Lily again? His tone grew more mocking with each word. Can't you just be a good little rich wife? Haven't I given you enough? Why are you so obsessed with comparing yourself to her? She's young, energetic, she likes excitement. What's it got to do with you? He paused, then added coldly, are you jealous because I treat other women better? Just say the word. If you beg me, maybe I'll come home. That's always how Erick is. If you defy him, he twists the knife harder. My mother-in-law yanked the phone from me. Erick! How could our family produce a son like you? You've shamed us completely. Don't come back. Having a son like you is humiliating. Then she smashed my phone on the floor. She'd really snapped this time. I bent down to pick it up. The screen was black, dead. I sighed. My poor phone. What did you ever do wrong? Chapter 15. After the two sons returned, they remained at the hospital, keeping vigil. I brought Sophia home. Mom, don't we need to stay at the hospital tonight? No, I gently patted her head. We just need to sleep well. Everything else isn't our concern. We slept soundly through the night. When I woke up, the secretary had already delivered my new phone. The moment I turned it on, a flood of notifications blinded me for a second. Last night, a violent typhoon struck. It overturned the luxury cruise ship Erick had recently purchased. No one on board survived. When I confirmed the news, I was so overwhelmed I couldn't speak. I rushed to the hospital, only to receive another piece of news. That very morning, the old man passed away quietly in his sleep. Everything had fallen into place. The will could no longer be changed. Erick, who would have likely caused me endless trouble in the future, was dead. As for my mother-in-law, she no longer posed any real threat. After 5 years of patience, I had claimed everything, for myself and for my child. Chapter 16. When my best friend sent a congratulatory message and asked me out to celebrate, I simply smiled. Another time. It was a weekday. Work came first. The old man's will was now set in stone. The two sons had inherited a great deal, but what Sophia received was far less than what they had. It was his will. I had no right to interfere or alter it, but I would not allow it to remain this way. I had my own company, my own career, and held authority over a core division of Erick's family enterprise. I had already paved the way for the two boys. Now, it was time to build Sophia's path. I would accumulate new wealth, gain greater capital, and compensate for the imbalance in that old man's inheritance. Whatever Sophia had been denied, I would make sure she received. They are all my children. They deserve the same starting line, the same smooth road forward. I love all my children equally, regardless of gender. I drove the car out of the garage. As I passed the garden, the flamboyant trees were in full bloom. Vivid red blossoms burst forth in their final glorious bloom. So full of life, they stirred something tender in my heart. The flowers will keep blooming along the road, and so will mine.